Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Education via Storytelling with me, Morel Benard, at Study Coach UK. And by the way, before I proceed further, please subscribe to Study Coach UK channel. Please subscribe and please share. Yeah, and we're here with Education via Storytelling. The topic is stress. And the story is about a young migrant named Huda. Now, this video presents the second part of Huda's stress experience. Yeah? And hopefully, in the first video, I have raised your awareness about the first stage of stress, which is known as the alarm stage. And now, I aim to raise your awareness about the second and the third stage of stress. So, to understand Huda's story, I think you will find it useful to listen to the first episode of the story if you missed it. And you'll find it here. The title is What is Stress? Education through Storytelling, Health and Wellness. Okay. The last words were that Huda is hiding in the lorry along with others, and he's trying to control his breathing, and his blood pressure starts to rise because he perceives that he is in danger, following the fact that the lorry came to a halt, it came to a stop, and the engine is turned off. The situation then becomes worse for Huda and the others when they hear the lorry door being opened and people entering the lorry. Now, remind yourself that raised blood pressure could put Huda in danger of having a stroke or having a heart attack, even though he is a young man. So with that, let me proceed with the story. From Huda's account, he heard 3 different male voices talking, and he saw flashes of light, perhaps coming from torches. One person was requesting that at least 2 of the boxes should be opened for inspection. Huda heard another man say, "Which boxes do you want me to open?" "Which box? You choose. I'm carrying electrical goods. Most of them are microwave ovens and electric cookers, kettles, juicers, and toaster in the barrels. I've already told you so." Huda assumed that this was the voice of the lorry driver. Huda was positioned in the middle of the lorry, between a number of small barrels stacked on top of each other. He felt that if he were to pull down the sack from his face, that he would be able to see the men. There was a temptation to do so, but he knew that would be stupid. And so he tried to slow down his breathing and to tense his muscles in a bid to control his left leg from trembling. From where he laid, Huda listened to what he believed were boxes being shifted and saw more flashes of torch light scanning the lorry. Huda could also feel the temperature in the lorry falling due to the door being open and the cold air entering. You can start with this big box over there, and afterwards open that one over there at the back with the red label, said a voice. "I'll have to take out my penknife, is that okay?" asked the lorry driver. "Yeah, go ahead," came a reply. It appeared that the cutting of the thick cardboard box with a penknife was not as easy task for the lorry driver as maybe he first perceived. But after an interval of about 10 minutes, the box was opened to reveal the electrical goods, and he showed them to the officers. In respect of stress, Huda and the other migrants' stress level would be significantly lowered if compared to the initial alarm stage. But though the stress level is reduced, we should note that because of the fight or flight response experienced at the alarm stage, the individual's body defenses will be left feeling weakened. Huda and the other migrants, their body defenses will need to recover in order to build up energy to help their damaged muscle tissues and to lower the production of stress hormones. In the world of stress, they call this the resistance stage. At the resistance stage, the body will remain on guard, particularly if the stressor persists, and the body might be required to fight them. Huda's body is certainly on guard because the stressors still exist. As we know, Huda and the others are lying right by the feet of the stressors. The stressors, of course, are the two officers who are standing and walking about in the lorry. Having satisfied themselves with the contents of the first box, the men then moved further down the lorry to open and inspect the second box with the red label. Perhaps the lorry driver was becoming more skilled with his penknife because the box was quickly opened and the officers made their inspection of the electrical goods. "Okay, thanks for that," said one of the officers. He then added, "What we can't understand is why you seem to have spent half the day here. I mean, you arrived here around midday, before midday, and you're just leaving. Now, we know the weather is bad, but this is a long time to be off the road." "Oh," replied the lorry driver. "I think I ate something in France to upset my stomach. I really wasn't feeling good. I needed a number of toilet visits, so I then decided to rest, make sure I was feeling okay before setting off for London." "Oh, all right," replied an officer. "We'll finish off by having a look at one of the big barrels. This one here will do." "The barrels are bolted down. I can't open it with a penknife. I will have to use a little power tool. I'll have to get it," said the lorry driver. Huda felt a great sigh of relief as he realized that they wouldn't be looking at any of the small barrels. Only one big barrel would be inspected. Huda curled himself up tight between the group of small barrels where he was positioned, and he heard footsteps approaching. It was the lorry driver, going towards the door of the lorry to fetch a power tool. Huda listened as the footsteps returned and descended to the back of the lorry. Huda heard the men talking in a friendly manner, and soon the noise from the power tool resounded in the lorry. Suddenly, a voice shouted, "Turn it off! Turn it off! Turn it off! I say, boss, didn't you hear that? Didn't you hear a noise?" "Well, I heard the drill. What are you talking about, lad?" What's wrong with you? I can't hear anything. You're too jumpy. I'm not sure if you're cut out for this job. You're always thinking people are crawling under lorries or jumping off them, and now you're hearing voices. Calm down, lad. Calm down. Let's get this shift over so we can both go home. The officer in charge then told the lorry driver to continue with the unlocking of the barrel. The power tool started up again. The noise was unnerving. It sounded like metal scraping against metal. The noise went on for a while. And then the young officer shouted out again, "Stop it, stop it. Something just touched me. I swear to you, something just touched my foot. Stop the drilling, stop it." The power tool was turned off. "Boss, listen to me. I'm not being jumpy. I swear, I felt like something just touched my foot. Like a soft pat." The three men were silent. It was a deafening noise, and then everyone who could hear heard the suppressed sound of a cry. The suppressed crying sound was then released, and through the release it grew louder. It was unmistakably the cry of a child. The cry grew louder and louder, and the raised voices of the officers also filled the lorry. "Come out," shouted the officer. He added, "There's no point in hiding. We can hear the child." "Who else is there?" "Tell your wife to come out." "Do you have another child here? Answer me." No, sir. No more child," came the reply from the migrant man. The migrant man then called out to his wife to come out. The officers watched as the woman came out of the sack. "Boss, they nearly gave me a heart attack. My poor heart is thudding. I'm perspiring, you know. I'm sure my blood pressure is up. You didn't believe me, but I knew I heard something. I just knew it. And then I knew something touched me. I think I'm good at this job. But it can raise your stress level, you know." Okay, lad. Okay. You did well. Calm down. Hold a second. "What's the brown sacks all about?" inquired the officer to the lorry driver. "I don't know. I don't know about any sacks. I have nothing to do with this. I didn't know there were refugees in my lorry. They must have jumped in when I was resting. But the door was locked. I don't know how they got in. This has nothing to do with me. I don't get mixed up in these things." Huda heard the remark about the brown sack and wondered if he could quietly roll down the sack to his feet and get out of it in an attempt not to bring attention to his whereabouts, since the officers were now on the hunt for brown sacks. Huda heard as one of the other migrant decided to give himself up. From a stress point of view, since the stressful condition not only still exists, but had now escalated, Huda's body remains in a state of arousal. Problems can begin to manifest when a person finds themselves repeating this stress process too often, with little or no recovery. This can move the individual into the final stage of stress, known as exhaustion. Remember that the stressors are the officers, and they have been persistent, being in the lorry for a long period of time. And Huda's body is starting to lose its ability to fight the situation. Huda is feeling drained out. He is getting exhausted. And internal body changes, such as his blood pressure, is dangerously high. But Huda has travelled far from his homeland and risked a great deal to reach England. And he is just not prepared to give up. He's curled up between the small stacking barrels, feeling terrified and sweating, his heartbeat racing fast, and he's wondering how long he can hold on without fainting. It has been a long time since he had something to eat and drink. Voices are now raised in the lorry, and more migrants have decided to come out of hiding. Huda heard as someone nearby decided that the pressure was too great for them and that there was no longer any point in hiding. Huda wondered if his fellow migrants would call him out. Would they become traitors? The migrants were speaking their own language with a smattering of English. Huda heard the words, "I want asylum," repeated several times by the migrants. The idea of fleeing from the lorry seemed like a much better idea to Huda. He was positioned in the middle of the lorry. The officers and lorry driver was at the back of the lorry. Huda quickly weighed up his chances of quietly crawling on his stomach to the door and making a dash for freedom. He decided to put his plan into action and began to crawl. He soon found himself at the open door, and he gently lowered himself down to the ground and felt the force of the rain beating down on his back. He then turned his body and looked up. He looked up into the face of a snarling dog and felt the dog's breath on his face. The guard dog was on a leash. The leash was held by an officer. Huda had lost the will to run. He lost the will to fight. He had reached the exhaustion stage. Burnout. Oh, education through storytelling. Stress. The alarm stage, resistance stage, exhaustion stage. Study Coach UK channel. Why not join me, Morel Benard? Join me for more education through storytelling. A new topic. Yes, join me. And please subscribe to Study Coach UK. Please look out for the next video. Next video will be coming. So do join me for the next video. I'll see you then. Bye.